Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the locker room. As you can see, it's not Big Mike. My name's Joe Sullivan from the Sully Squad. I'm filling in tonight, and it takes a lot to fill Mike's shoes. We got two of us here tonight. I got my man Paul Spencer from the 215 boys here as well in the Out of Box Network. How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing good, Joe. Thank you for having me, and it's great to be part of the crew here. It's like you said, it's huge shoes to fill with Mike here. I mean, Big Four Locker Room podcast. Oh man, I don't know if we can do it, Joe, but we're gonna try as hell we can, man.
Well, we're going to do our best. We got a lot to get into, obviously. The Eagles, finalized their 50. Well, first they finalized their 53, and then Howie snuck another trade in there and got us a safety because we needed that safety.
Man.
Yeah, he's out there making some moves, and we're going to get into I'm going to, I want to get into, I have a theory that Howie Roseman is a top 5 GM in this league. I know he's made some mistakes. Obviously, JJ Rager, Rager
Mm-hmm.
and JJ Arcega Whiteside, he's obviously missed his fair share of draft picks, but in general, I feel like this dude is a top 5 GM, and we're going to do a deep dive into Howie. And then also, we got our Phillies on the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Struggling 2 losses to start the trip with Arizona. But 18 runs last night. I mean, they crushed that ball.
Yeah, that's insane. Coming off of a loss like that and putting up runs like that kind of surprised me. I mean, I took the Phillies minus 1.5, and I couldn't believe what the hell happened last night, Joe.
Yeah, well, yeah, you probably could have took them by 12. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, I wish I could have.
yeah, they crushed them. So I guess we'll start off with some Phillies, and then real quick, today, obviously our Sixers are our top contender in the East, but got to keep it real, man. Them Cleveland Cavs are making some moves, getting Donovan Mitchell. What'd you think of that, dude?
Man, I tell you, I posted on Out of the Box their starting lineup. I mean, that starting lineup's really going to be something to look forward to. I mean, I kind of feel bad for the new coach. I forgot his name. I posted in the group earlier today, but Milt something or whatever his name for the Jazz. But man, they're cleaning house, Joe. Rudy Gobert's gone, Donovan Mitchell's gone. But you know what? They're set for the future, though. They are. But Cleveland is set for the future right now. I mean, they have a deep squad right now.
Well, I was going to say Danny Ainge is going to Danny Ainge, bro, because he's doing exactly what he did in
Mm-hmm.
Boston, and not for nothing, but they also got Colin Sexton too, and
Right.
marketing. I mean, so Utah, couple good drafts, and they got a lot of ammunition to really rebuild there.
Yeah, I hope everybody learned their lesson and not, trade with Danny Ainge anymore because look what he did with Boston. I mean, he took him from nowhere, just gained assets, and look what he has now. I mean, a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference, maybe top 4 in the NBA now. So he'll do his thing out there. I'm not worried about them. They'll be back. But thank God they're on the West Coast, Joe.
Well, I was going to say big collars Colangelo didn't even need toilet paper to wipe his ass. He got fleeced so bad by Danny Ainge, dude,
I know.
on that Fultz trade. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I mean, I mean, the people should know not to deal with Danny Ainge, man. But hey, like I said,
Yeah.
I feel like my man Howie Roseman has that reputation too.
Yeah, there's now, you know what, Howie's taking that Danny Ainge approach. Like, you know what, you criticized me before, but I'm here now. So, hey, he's doing his thing. But I might get a little jealous when you guys talk about Howie Roseman because, hey, Howie Roseman versus Jerry Jones. You know where I'm going to your side today, Joe. So,
I hear you, but you know what, Paul? Let's start off with some Phillies here real
okay.
quick. Well,
Mhm.
Because obviously, I mean, they're playing on the West Coast, and I get up early, so I'd be lying. The other night, last night, I only saw like the first couple innings,
Mhm.
and then what was it? Monday night they had a 7-0 lead,
Yeah.
and I went to bed, all like, oh cool, we got this win, it's an easy one. Woke up, what did Arizona scored? I think like 13 unanswered runs. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was like what ended up like 12-3 or something like or no, I'm sorry, that was the other game, but, like, I went to bed, Joe, and I did my DraftKings bet, and I'm like, "All right, all I needed was the Phillies to win this game." I'm like, "You know what? Let me turn it off. Let me go watch a movie with Katie." Next thing I know, I turned it on, I'm like, "What the hell just happened? Like, what just happened here?" Like, I don't get it, Joe. But, I mean, do you think they're, like, hot and cold? I mean, is that the issue, or what do you think the issue is here?
You know what? I think it's just the ebb and flow in the baseball season. I mean,
Mhm,
because if you look, I think the Phillies were like 18-10 in August or something like that,
mhm.
and I mean, we've been playing great ball, especially since the new manager took over,
Right.
and I mean, sometimes you're going to lose some games. I mean, you figure they won 6 in a row last week. So, Sunday Syndergaard took his first L
Mhm,
here,
mhm,
which is going to happen. Like I saw some people complaining about that loss, but it's kind of known in baseball. Like the best teams win 60, the worst teams win 60. It's
mhm.
the it, it's those 42 games in the middle that decide the whole league.
Right,
You,
exactly.
you, you know what I mean? So it's easy to say, oh, the Pirates suck, but I mean, let's keep it real. The Pirates are going to win 60 games.
Yeah, I mean that's just like the general line of it. I mean, any team can win 60 games, even if you suck, But just like you said, that 40 game in between that 60 to 100 there, that's what's going to get you, to the wild card or to the division winner. So, I mean, they're in a good place, Joe. I honestly thought they were going to be a not even well, I want to say mediocre team this year,
Hmm.
especially with Girardi on there. Then Milt took over. I was like, okay, you know what? They're playing for the coach maybe, but it can go both ways. But I give the Phillies credit being a Braves fan. I mean, I didn't think they were going to be where they're at, Joe. Honestly, I didn't.
Well, you said you're a Braves fan. I mean, honestly, as good as the Mets are playing, I mean, the Braves are right on their heels. I mean, it wouldn't shock me.
Hmm.
It wouldn't shock me if the Braves won that division at all, because I mean, they're right there. They're playing what, like 700 and some baseball?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're what 4 games back or 3.5 right now. But the problem is like the Mets played the Dodgers a couple, a series. They lost the game. Well, the Braves are playing Colorado. Man, you got to win that game. That's a winnable game to come up with some ground. And then you throw that game. It's you can't make up ground. But I hope they do. I mean, I really want to see 3 teams make the wild card this year out of the NFC, the NL East. I really like to see that. And that's really unheard of. Also, I really want to see it.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I mean, I got to be honest too. As much as I hate the Mets, I
Hmm.
don't think I've ever seen anything cooler than that dude Diaz. Did you see the video with Diaz entering the stadium last night?
No, no, I see people were talking about Ken Fry was
Oh,
talking to me about it. He said, "Look at it," and I was so busy to then being at the practice, but I didn't get a chance to see it.
oh man, you got to Google it, dude. It was
Mhm.
like, I mean, even as a Phillies fan, and like I said, it pains me to say this because it's a Mets player, but I got to keep it real, man. It's fire, dude. Like it's so
Okay.
cool. Like he's running out there and like he kind of walks, and then the dude, I forget his name, but the dude's playing the trumpet, and
Mhm.
and, and oh, it's so cool, man. It,
Wow.
it's honestly, it reminds me. Remember when the Yankees used to have Mariano used to come out to
Mhm.
enter the Sandman?
Yes.
Okay, well
Mhm.
that would well that Jawn would be like if Metallica was there playing.
Wow.
You,
Yeah, I
you know what I'm
definitely gotta check
saying?
that
Because
out.
the dude was in the stands. It was so cool, man.
Wow. Yeah, I mean that only not only hypes up the fan crowd, hypes up your whole team and especially you. It's just like, here it comes, here it comes. It's time. But man, I definitely would check that out. I didn't get a chance to check that out.
Yeah, but
Oh.
anyway, yeah, getting back to the Phillies though, the one good thing is we are still 2.5 up on the Brewers.
Mhm.
We're pretty much even with San Diego. We're 2.5 up on the Brewers. The good thing about us is or next week we got 3 with San Francisco. San Francisco was in a free fall. I believe they lost like 6 or 7 games in a row.
Mhm.
Um, then after that, excuse me, after that we come home. We got 3 with the Marlins and 3 with the Nats. So
Mhm.
and conversely, Milwaukee has to play at Arizona and at Colorado.
Right.
Which I don't care how Colorado is. Colorado is always a weird place to play just because how the stadium always is. I mean, even
Hmm.
when Colorado sucks, you could still lose 2 or 3 in Colorado just because of the way it is out there.
Right, right. And you still have 7 with the Braves too, I'm correct, right? A home and away series as well too, right?
What's that?
I think you with the Braves, you guys have a home and away series with the Braves. I think it's a 3 game and a 4 game also too.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
Mhm,
we actually play our last home game versus the Braves. I think it's like September 25th or something like that.
mhm.
Yeah, because that is a concern. The Phillies have some easy games now, but I'll tell you what though, I hope we have the playoffs clinched before we play the Astros,
Yeah,
or I hope the Astros already have wherever they're seated. I hope they got it locked up because
mhm.
I'd have visions of 2005, with ending the season in Houston. That wouldn't be too pleasant.
Yeah. That's I was looking at the schedule earlier before I got on here with you, and I was just like, well, yeah, it's like the. Are you worried about the Marlins though? I mean, I hear a lot of people say the Marlins have your number. Are you worried about them? And if you are, like, what is it with the Marlins? It's gives the Phillies the hardest time to me.
Uh, Years previous, yes. This
Hmm.
this year this year we've actually taken it to them.
Hmm.
So I mean, the last, we've won at least like, last series, I believe we took 2 out of 3.
Okay.
The series before right before the All-Star break, we went down there and swept them. And then we took, I believe, 2 out of 3 the series previous here.
Hmm.
Actually, we might even have swept them. I forget, but whatever it is, we've actually carried against the Marlins, and ironically, and then the Nationals too. I forget what it is, but somebody was talking shit, like the Nationals. I don't know if it was their Twitter or their
Hmm.
internet or something. And they were basically saying like how the Phillies weren't that difficult. And ever since then, I think the Phillies have won like, I want to say like something crazy, like 19 out of 22 against them or something
Mm.
like that.
Okay.
So as long as as long as the Phillies can take care of business, like like I said, like Milwaukee has tough road games here. I think Milwaukee still has to play the Dodgers
Hmm.
also, and they play the Mets still. So, if the Phillies can play decent ball, like right now we're 2.5 up. If we could find a way to be, say, 4.5 or 5 up by like in say the next 10, 11 days, I'm feeling pretty confident that we're going to get, at worst that last wild card spot.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, to me, the Padres are on a downfall, so I think they're going to slope off. I mean, I think it's just the Brewers. If you can stay pace with the Brewers, I'm sorry, that's going to be the 2-3 spot right there. Because I think the Braves are going to lock up one, or the Mets, vice versa. So, I mean, I love to see the
Definitely.
Braves take one, but I mean, like I said, it's just kind of I really want to see it as a baseball fan. I'm a casual baseball fan. I watch all the games, but I would really like to see 3 teams from one division, make this here. It's something that's really unheard of, and it makes for great conversation. Being a Braves fan, a Philly, watching the Phillies play, and we have a Mets show on here, of course. So I'm just looking for the future, that trash talk, that trash talk show right there between those 3 teams.
Well, you know what? Ironically, it's both East because if you look at the American League
Hmm.
East, well, first off, the Yankees had their worst August in since 1991. The Yankees were 10-18 in August.
Hmm.
So they're really starting to come back to the pack. I think their lead is
Yes.
down. Their lead over Tampa is down to 6. But
Hmm.
anyway, like I was saying, the American League East, Baltimore is only 2 games out of the wild card. So you have the Yankees. You got Tampa. Toronto. I'll tell you, Toronto's a sleeper ass team. Toronto's
Hmm.
got a nice squad, and then you got the Orioles, who the Orioles are like way ahead of schedule. I mean, the
Right.
Orioles weren't supposed to be good for like another year or two, and like
Hmm.
they got young talent coming out their ass. I mean, they got
Yes.
in fact, if Baltimore, if I'm an Orioles fan, if my ownership doesn't step up and spend some money this offseason, I'm kind of pissed off because
Hmm.
you you want to start sprinkling in some solid veterans with these young guys and maybe take that next step forward. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. Yeah, I mean the Yankees are in a downfall right now. I mean, last night they lost to the Angels. They were up 2-0. Then
Hmm.
Toddy comes up and hits a 3-yard bomb, and it was just they're not what they used to look like. I mean, I think they're what this is the first month in the last like 15 years where they went under 500. It's insane. The Yankees are on a downfall, but who do you think the team to beat is? I know we're getting with the Phillies here. Who do you think the team to beat is? Is it still the Dodgers too, or the Astros, or
Uh, Well, I mean, I mean, well, the Dodgers, right? I think the Dodgers have won like 40 out of 50. I mean, which is
Mhm.
crazy.
Yes.
The thing that concerns me about the Dodgers though is they've had some serious injuries, like Walker Bueller's
Europe,
out.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
when it comes to a short series, I think honestly, when it comes to short series, honestly, I think the Mets and the Braves would find a way to beat the Dodgers,
Mhm.
just because I feel like with Bueller's injury. I feel like I feel like their pitching is a little better.
Mhm.
As far as the American League, I mean, the Astros,
Mhm.
look at how they're playing. And I know the Yankees have been struggling, but I'm not going to count them out. I mean,
No, no.
anytime you get a big bat like Judge, I mean, a lot of postseason is what pitching and bombs. So that a lot
Yeah.
of time, you know
Mhm.
what I mean. So like the Yankees are never out of a game as long as you got Judge and Stanton. Because
Mhm.
that's one of the. I mean, Stanton's been hurt. So once you get a healthy Stanton back along with Judge, the Yankees could be losing by a couple runs. One of those big guys comes up, whether it's them or Rizzo, you know what I mean, and pops a 3-run bomb, dude. They're right back in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I bet the game last night, and I took, the Yankees, of course, on the money line, and I'm like, "All right, they're 2." I was talking to Mike last night, Mike Laura, the host of the show, and I was like, "Yeah, we're up 2-0. We should be good." As soon as I said that, Otani comes up and hit a 3-yard bomb, and in the ninth inning, the Yankees are coming back. They got 2 men aboard, 1 out, and it's Stanton comes up, strikes out, and I'm like, "What the hell's going on here? Like, let's play a little small ball here." But it seems like they're going for yard, and I was kind of mad. But Joe, how tall is Judge? I mean, is he like 6'9" or something? Is he
I
that big?
I was gonna say he's at least like 6'7", 6'8". Yeah, I
Man,
mean
like I was watching the game last night, and this when he was up at the plate, I'm just like, my God, this dude is big. I don't watch a lot of Yankees games, but I'm like, this dude is like a giant. His strike zone is to him is a little so high. The catcher was, Stasi last night was putting his hand up so high to catch the ball in his zone. I'm like, wow, it's insane. But man,
yeah, I was gonna say I'm actually curious to look it up here. Yeah, because
I think he's like 6'9" or something. Like,
yeah,
God, this dude is huge.
I think you might be right. I know it's yeah. All right, you know what? He's listed as 6'7", but he
Is
seems
it?
taller.
He does. Like it was like his strike box last night was just insane. Like the catcher where Stassi was putting his hand up a little bit higher. And there was one play, like the sixth inning, Judge looked back and he was like, "Are you serious?" Like looked at the plate, and I was like, "Well, anybody else that would be a strike, of course." But man, it's insane.
Yeah, so but anyway, and I mean, can you imagine Judge as a tight end? Like in the red zone? Boy, I mean, he's like as tall as Gronk, but like I mean, he's a hell of an athlete too, you know?
And all that power that he has in the lower body, the upper body, my God, that would be insane. Like talk about just like the Gronk, a baby Gronk out there. My God, Joe.
Yeah,
Phew.
but
Mm,
anyway, yeah, so anyway, hey, I mean, we could rap about baseball for a while, but
mhm.
let's keep it real, bro. It's 9-1
Yeah.
here. I mean, it's 9-1. I got Penn State on the TV here. We got college football going on, 5 straight days of college football.
Whew,
We got we got the NFL opening up next year. I mean, dude, we talked about this the other day. I mean, it's like Christmas up in here, you
It
know?
is, man. It's like you wake up, Thursday morning. I talked to Katie. She's like, "What are we doing this week?" And I was like, "Honey, we're not doing anything Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday." I was like, "Look, you got Tuesday, Wednesday to do whatever we want to do next week. Because after that, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday for me. It's Christmas. It's Christmas in September."
Yeah, and obviously I want to get into the Eagles, but
Hmm.
just NFL in general. What a game to open up the season. I mean, Buffalo and the Rams.
Wow.
I honestly, let's be honest, dude. If it's not for if it's not for Buffalo messing up that kickoff at the end of that game, in all likelihood, that probably was the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
I don't think Cincinnati goes to Buffalo and I don't think Cincinnati if Bu who I firmly believe if Buffalo won that Kansas City game, they would have at least made the Super Bowl and maybe even won that, John.
I agree. I agree. I thought Buffalo with that one particular thing you just mentioned there. I can't see Cincinnati going. I'm not going to knock Joe Burrows. He had a hell of a year, even with the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe.
Mhm.
But you're not going to go into Buffalo and beat them in that cold weather atmosphere. I mean, I know Cincinnati's cold, but you're not going to beat the Buffalo Bills at home. I don't see that happening. And I thought it was going to be a Rams, rematches we're going to see this week.
Yeah, so So real quick, I mean, what do you think of that game? I mean, right now, I mean,
Mm.
I got to admit, I'm a little surprised that Buffalo's a two and at least on FanDuel, Buffalo's a 2.5 point favorite at LA, which kind of surprised me a little bit. I mean, not saying that I don't think Buffalo's great because I do, but
Mhm.
I would have thought it would have been the other way just because it's in LA.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised too. The line opened at 3, now it's at 2.5 as I looked at it today, as you said, and I thought about it, and I agree with you. I thought, you're defending Super Bowl champs, you're playing at home, it's gonna be ring night in front of you, in front of your own crowd. It can go both ways. Is the hype still there? And I'm gonna lead toward Buffalo, Joe. I think Buffalo is gonna win this game probably by 3. I'm gonna take the -2 here. I think Buffalo this year is on a mission, and I actually think they're gonna go. I hate to say this, Joe. I think they're gonna go 14-3 this year,
Well,
and I think so.
well, it's funny. I know I brought up the line to you, but I actually do agree with you. I would go Buffalo too. I'm just saying I was surprised that the Rams weren't favored. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
agree
Like
with that. I agree. Yeah.
and and to your point about the ring ceremony, it can go both ways because I could remember. I believe the one year New England won the championship, they kicked Pittsburgh's ass, but then
Hmm.
but then another time New England won, Kansas City went there, and that was like the breakout game of Kareem Hunt. Remember, Kansas City went there, and
Hmm.
nobody knew who Kareem Hunt was. I think this was like
Right.
20. I don't know. I want to say it was. I think it was 2017. Actually, I think it was the year the Eagles won the Super Bowl,
Hmm.
and Kansas City went there and spanked them. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it
Right.
can, it can go either way. And then of course, when the Eagles won, I mean, well, this is typical Philadelphia thing, and I'll never shit on Eagles fans because I'm an Eagles fan, but I remember Eagles fans getting ripped because the halftime of the first game, the Eagles were getting the shit booed out of them the first game of the Super Bowl. You remember that
Hmm.
we played
Hmm.
Atlanta?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
so
yeah.
but the Eagles did win that game. So, but it
Hmm.
started sloppy. So,
Yeah.
sometimes when they have the ring ceremony, it gets in guys' heads, and maybe they're not quite ready to
Mhm.
to, to rock. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to have legit team. I mean, they have Robinson, Allen Robinson came in for Odell Beckham's with Cincinnati now, but the weapons are there. But they had a remarkable year last year. I mean, Cooper Cup was just insane.
Hmm.
Stafford looked like a Stafford that we really wanted to see him throughout his career before Detroit. But I don't know. I'm going to have to go with Buffalo here. I mean, I think they're on a mission this year, Joe. After getting screwed last year, I just think this is their shocking time where they're going to come out opening night and just say, hey, we're the Buffalo Bills. We're going to beat the Super Bowl champs right here in their own home. And what way to start the season. So I'm probably going to say Buffalo. Probably I'm going to take the -2 with Buffalo. I do 2.5. I won't go if it goes up to 3. I might be a little scarce taking it. I might just
Hmm.
drop the money line, but I think it's going to be close. I think I'm going to take Buffalo -2.5.
Yeah, no, I could see that. And real quick before we get on to the Eagles too,
Mhm.
obviously with you as a Cowboys fan, I didn't catch it. Did they sign Jason Peters today?
No,
I
he's
know they were looking at him.
yeah. He's still down there visiting. I mean, honestly, Joe, Matt and I talked about this last night, and I got a lot of personal messages saying I'm not a Cowboys fan. How would you take an Eagles player? But Joe, this is the way I say it honestly. Tyron Smith is all decade. Jason Peters was all decade. They're
Yeah.
greatest players of all time on the left tackle position. They're just like a mirror between each other. They're always hurt. They can't stay healthy. But when they're healthy, they're fine. And I know Peters won't be fine. And I know Tyron Smith's on the shelf for at least 10 weeks.
Right.
At this point, Joe, I'll take anybody to play left tackle. Honestly, I will. And I heard a lot of people say you're crazy. Well, you know what? Fine. I'd rather have Jason Peters out there to give me at least 80% than have a rookie step in at left tackle. It's I can't see it because I love my quarterback Dak. And at this point, I think he might die with the offensive line we have. I'll take Peters over anybody right now until trade deadline or not trade line, but till practice squad issues and waivers out there. But we'll see.
Well, I don't get into that whole, "Oh, you don't wanna take this guy because he was an Eagle,"
Yeah,
or "Oh, you don't wanna take this guy because he was Cowboy." Because 'cause let's keep it real, man. If you put I'll take hey, yeah, listen, I'll take Michael Parsons, bro. I'll
and
take Michael Parsons, no problem, you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
and
let's go.
that was my rebuttal, Joe. Last night, everybody that sent me an email, they're like, "I would never take a Cowboy." And I was like, "Bro, listen to me. If Jalen Hurts broke his leg in the first game of the season, and we're rebuilding, we're tanking the whole season, and that Dak Prescott came available. You're going to tell me you wouldn't take him? They're like, oh, I don't want him. He's a Cowboy. I'm like, bro. Then
Get the hell out of
I
get the
mentioned
hell
Micah
out of
Parsons. I was like,
here.
what about Micah Parsons at linebacker? Nah, he's a Cowboy. I'm like, dude, you are off your fucking, you're off your rocker.
Nah, no, nah. It's it's the same tired argument with like Flyers fans too. Like I'm a Flyers fan
Hmm.
myself, and you got 20,000 Flyers fans calling Sidney Crosby, Crosby, crybaby Sidney.
Right.
You're a pussy, blah blah blah. You put him in the orange and black. Every single Flyers fan is ball blowing that motherfucker. You know
Oh,
what I'm saying?
it's insane. Like you said, I live up here. I go to Penguins games, and it's just like I asked the people. I was like, would you, what if, like going back to like Mario Lemieux, what if he went to the Flyers? Sidney Crosby went to the Flyers. How would you feel? I mean, they were like, no, that can't happen. We hate the Philadelphia. I was like, well, what if a Philadelphia Flyer came up here and played with you guys? They were like, we would accept them. But I'm not knocking any, Philadelphia fan at all, Joe. You know me, I'm not like that.
I gotcha.
But there's something about the Philly fans that don't want anybody else from players. They hate them when they're at the other team. But if they would be better at your team, they wouldn't take them for some reason. I don't get that. Like Crosby up here is God. I see so many pictures up here on back of cars. Crosby's God. This is Crosby's country. If you don't like Crosby, F off. But Joe, I don't know if I ever told you a story. When I moved up here 4 years ago, we looked at a house and I actually had a Philly shirt on. I'm sorry, a Flyer shirt on, orange and black
Right.
with the logo. Katie and I went to this house. We looked at it and it was beautiful. We were about to make a cash offer on the house. And I walked outside and I was like, oh, cool. Look at that. This must be a hockey area. They got a Penguins
Uh
flag up. And I'm like looking at it. I'm like, I look, the guy comes outside. He's waving to me. And I'm like, hey, buddy, how you doing? My name's Paul.
huh.
He goes like this. He's like, you're a Flyers fan. And I'm like, not really a hockey fan. He's like, get that fucking shit off. I'm like, I thought he was joking. I looked at my realtor and she's like, Paul, they're really serious up here. I'm like, okay, whatever. I live in Philly. I can take it. So the guy was like, get the fuck off my block. You ain't buying that fucking house. Whatever he offers, I'll offer you 10 grand more. I'm like, holy shit. Well, I didn't get the house, Joe, but I was like, holy shit, they take this serious up here.
Yeah, you know what? I'll never understand. I mean, I'll never understand that. We talk, we talk a lot, obviously, and like,
Hmm.
I mean, I bleed green. I love my Philadelphia Eagles,
Hmm.
but I tell anybody, I mean, hey, I mean, they don't pay my bills, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, as
Hmm.
much as I love these teams, man, like, and the Super Bowl was one of the best days of my life, and I mean, top 5 day in my life, definitely, right? But guess what, though, dude? I still had to go to work the next day. I still had to go to work the next week. You know what I'm saying? So, let's keep it real, man. I love the Eagles, dude, but like, you give me the choice between Super Bowl and me hitting like for like $10 million. I'm sorry, dude. I want the money.
You're
You
damn
know what I
right.
mean?
You're damn right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, let's just keep it real, you
You're
know?
damn right. Ken Fry says the realtor was like ching ching. Yeah, I gotta call that realtor and see if that dude actually bought the house or she got a little profit off their little side hustle. I don't know. But
Well, you think about it. If that realtor was smart, she would actually hire dudes to wear Flyers jerseys to get the higher offers.
exactly, yeah,
You
like
know what I'm
exactly,
saying?
like yeah. Well, they're they offered 80, $90,000. You're gonna buy it right now. Like oh, get him off the block. Well, look, whatever. Like oh man, but yeah, I'm the same way, Joe. I love my Cowboys. I've been honored enough to actually see one parade in '94 with my or '96 with my dad, and I respect the hell out of you guys getting into 2017. It's something that I didn't want to see, honestly, as a fan, an outside fan, but I'm really glad you guys got one for the real fans, not the people that don't even watch football and that go to the parade and sit there. We won, and I don't use that term "we won" because I didn't win shit. I didn't win shit. They don't pay my bills. But that day, Joe, I was actually at work. I went to work that day, and I worked down centers. I think I told you guys last night on Wednesday night. I actually worked that day. I was the only one in the lawyer's office that worked, and I watched the parade from the office looking down, and I was so pissed off.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it was just such a great moment. I mean, like I almost like I had tears in my eyes because like my grandfather raised me Notre Dame Saturdays, Eagles Sundays, and you know, I remember watching those Buddy Ryan teams and
Hmm.
and like 1991, like nobody to this day nobody could tell me if Randall didn't rip his ACL that year. I think the Eagles
Yeah,
win the Super Bowl.
I
And
agree.
then 92, I mean, that Redskins team was great, but the Eagles had like the best defense around. They were like number
Yes.
one in every category.
Hmm.
Following year, Jerome Brown dies. Then you had all those years with Andy Reid. I mean, 4 straight championship games. I mean, Christ, we lost 3 of them at home. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, and or 2 of them at home. And then the Philly breakthrough, and then so many fans like myself were thinking, like my grandfather had died the previous December, so
Hmm.
I was just like, man, I wish my grandfather could have seen this. You know what I mean? And I know
Yeah.
there was I don't know if you've seen if you saw this. This has nothing to do with the Eagles, but talking about fans, like, did you see the story? There was a when the Cubs won the World Series, there was like a guy that listened to it on the radio by like his dad's grave. You know what I mean? Like,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
like and like I gotta admit, dude, like I like teared up because like you think of stories like that and like these people that like that like
Hmm.
they're all these years, you know what I mean? All right, so I wasn't like a Red Sox fan, but I was on a cruise when the Red Sox won the World Series in 2004.
Hmm.
And it was like, unless you were from St. Louis, like I feel like, or a Yankees fan, I feel like 90% of America was like, you know what, good for you people. You know what I'm saying? Like same
Yeah.
thing with the Cubs. Like when the Cubs won, like I thought it was like cool as shit. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like I was
Like,
like, good for them.
yeah, like I'll take a lot of slack for this show. I know my cowboy friends, they're probably going to send me a message, but I was very respectful when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. I was sitting there the night that they won. We were all watching at a friend's house. Actually, between on the whole block, we had a big screen outside, and I was the first one to walk over to many of my friends and shake their hands. Said,
Mhm.
"You guys finally got it, man! Congratulations! Enjoy this fucking moment. This is your way." Because a lot of them never seen a Super Bowl, of course, and it's just like that moment was for them. It was for them. Like the one guy actually grabbed me. He was like, "My God!" He looked up in the air, Joe. He's like, "Dad, we did it. We did it."
Yeah,
And
right,
that to me was like,
exactly.
I even shed a tear, Joe. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, wow. Because if the Cowboys never won it, my dad's seen, he's seen them 71, 77, all of them. He's seen it all five. And I really seen three of them being a fan. And 77, I was only 6 years old, Joe. I don't remember that
Right.
shit. I ain't gonna lie. But I was lucky enough to see three. If I wouldn't have seen any of them and my dad, passed away and we won a Super Bowl, some year we might win one. I would look up and say, Dad, I finally got to see one. I finally got to see what you were
Right.
talking about. And that goes a long way as a fan. But some people, Joe, they don't do that. They're, a lot of Cowboy fans I know, they're like, fuck the Eagles, fuck the Eagles. I can't believe it's bullshit. Like, no, dude, give them respect. They won, bro. Give them respect. Very
Yeah, no,
simple.
no, I hear you, and it's funny because just to kind of segue into what I really wanted to get into here,
Hmm.
which is a guy that's been not to go all Jason Kelsey, but a guy that's been an underdog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Howie Roseman.
Hmm.
I know he's definitely had his fuck ups. I mean, I could go, you know, the whole 2017 draft, he whiffed on the whole draft,
Yeah.
JJ Arcega Whiteside whiffed on him. Jalen Rager whiffed on him. Dillard. I mean,
Hmm.
the list goes on and on. But every one of these teams,
And you're getting choked up by that badass draft, huh?
yeah, e- e- every single one of these teams
Hmm.
whiffs on the draft
Hmm.
many times, including the great Bill Belichick. If
Oh
you
yeah.
look at the if you look at the Patriots drafts, even a lot of those dynasty years, a lot of his drafts really sucked. And
Hmm.
the draft is an inexact science. I mean, for every Peyton Manning, there's a Ryan Leaf. For every
Hmm.
John Elway, there's a Jamarcus Russell.
Oof, wow.
And look at the National Football League Hall of Fame. Kurt Warner, undrafted.
Hmm.
Tom Brady's going to go in the Hall of Fame, sixth rounder.
Hmm.
You know, uh, I'll name a guy too. Like I don't know if he's going to make the Hall of Fame, but James Harrison. James Harrison bounced around this league. He was with
Hmm.
Baltimore. He
Cincinnati
he
for a while. Hmm.
yeah, he went to Pittsburgh. So you can't tell me like this draft is an inexact science, but and
Hmm.
Howie Roseman has definitely had his case of fuck ups. But you you know you talked about the Super Bowl,
Hmm.
so all right. So I'm gonna give a little history lesson here. Okay, so let's take this back to 2015. All right, Chip Kelly banishes Howie Roseman to like the back of the Howie Roseman's like ordering jock straps. You know what I'm saying? Like that's Howie Roseman's job. Like Chip Kelly's basically like, yo, you fucking nerd. You don't know shit. Handle the cap. Let the football guys take over. Oh, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So Howie goes there. Chip has a terrible year. You know, Chip, Mr. Antisocial. He won't even go to a Christmas party. He gets his bitch ass fired, right? Howie Roseman gets his job back in 2016.
Mhm.
Okay. Eagles are what? Eagles are 7-9 team. Howie needs to get a quarterback.
Mhm.
So what does Howie do? Well, the first thing Howie does, he sets up the foundation for the 2017 Super Bowl year. He signs Brandon Brooks from a little known guard from the Houston Texans, who by the way
Right.
became who in Philadelphia, he had some anxiety issues, but he became one of the best guards in the National Football League. Okay?
Mhm.
Rodney McLeod. Rodney McLeod wasn't a world beater, but he was a good, solid safety. Rodney McLeod was a big part of that Super Bowl team. And then the other guy, Nigel Bradham. Everybody says the Eagles don't have linebackers. Guess what? Nigel Bradham had a good ass year in 2017.
He did. He did, definitely.
Okay. So then we had the 13th pick in the draft. Howie stuck with DeMarco Murray, who Chip Kelly's stupid ass ran the wrong plays.
Mhm.
I mean, DeMarco Murray killed it for you guys, and DeMarco Murray runs north and south.
And he
That's
went
what you
east and
do.
west.
Yeah, yeah. Chip Kelly tries to make him Barry Sanders. Gee,
Mhm.
shocker, he fucked up, right?
Joe, not to cut you off, but I was so scared when he went
Mm,
to you guys coming off that year. I'm
yeah.
like, you got to be kidding me. With the offensive line, you guys are going to be great. It's just going to be maybe a 2,000-yard season for DeMarco
hmm
Murray. And it was just like the first game, I'm like, what the hell's he doing?
He was an
What is he
idiot,
doing?
bro.
North and south, what are you doing running east and west? And I'm thinking, like, you know what? It's not DeMarco Murray. It's totally Chip Kelly here. And I love this.
Yeah, well, because Howie makes a couple of great moves. First he moves from 13 to 8, Pat Arvin Papanord. Actually, you know what, Pat? This is a Hugh Douglas
It's a
Jawn,
Hugh
bro.
Douglas 153. Yeah.
This is a Hugh Douglas Jawn. Yeah, I'm taking that back. But anyway, so Howie moves to Marco Murray, trades him, gets rid of him. He trades Shakira Kiko Alonso
Right to
and
Miami.
finds a way to get the 8th pick. Shakira with the
Hmm.
Shakira. I'm calling him Shakira. Kiko Alonso never fit in Philadelphia. He was
Hmm.
wearing. I mean, what linebacker wears half top shirts, dude? You know what I mean? Like
Exactly. Yeah.
that doesn't scream Philadelphia to me, bro.
Mhm.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
now, Joe, who did he trade? He was Alonzo and who else? Was it Maxwell?
But yeah, Byron Max. Yeah,
Byron Maxwell. Okay, okay.
there you go.
I remember it was two
I,
people. I'm like, wait a minute.
you
Yeah.
know what's funny? I didn't even think of that. I totally drew a blank on
Hmm.
that, and that was another fuck up by Chip Kelly. So Howie came in and started fixing Chip's fuck ups.
Hmm.
So Howie finds a way. Howie finds a way to get up to number 2. He drafts his franchise quarterback Carson Wentz. Now we could say, you know, we can say a lot of things about Carson Wentz at this point in his career, but let's be honest, he played at an MVP level in that 2017 year. We don't win the
Yeah.
Super Bowl without Carson Wentz.
Right. Agree.
All right. So he sets up the foundation for the Super Bowl team. Even in the draft, though, round 3, he gets Isaac Sayamala, the
Hmm.
number 79 pick. Isaac Sayamala is still a productive guard for this team
Yeah.
6 years later. He gets round 5, he gets Wendell Smallwood at 153. Now, Wendell Smallwood wasn't a great player. I'm not
Hmm.
gonna I'm not gonna give him tons of props for Smallwood, but Smallwood for a 5th round pick, he played a couple years here. He was decent. But the other 2 big guys wound up starting in the Super Bowl.
Hmm.
Vitae in the 5th round at
Yeah. Huge.
164. I'll tell you what, Vitae held up in that Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? And then Jalen Mills in the 7th round. You could say what you want about Jalen Mills, but he started in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
all right, so so these were moves he makes in 2016. And by the way, they bring Doug Peterson in. Well, Howie had a role in that too.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
We got a comment, Adam Glenn. I love Wentz. Hey man, 2017, I loved him too, bro. You know what I
I
mean?
tell you, he had a hell of a year until that injury. I was like, my God, this MVP season here. Glad to see it happen. After all the negativity, a lot of people were talking about him. Was he worth the pick? But man, that year, Joe, and you're right. A lot of people say it was all Nick Foles. Well, my man, you know what? Nick Foles did, finish the job, but Carson Wentz got you a hell of a long way, man. Almost 80% of the way there. So it's huge.
Yeah, exactly. You know what it was like. Now, oh,
Wow.
here Ken Fry, his brother-in-law named his son Carson. You know what's
Wow.
funny? There's probably a lot of 4 and 5-year-old kids named Carson, and then there's a lot of like 15-year-old kids named Chase or Chase
Yeah,
Utley. You know what I'm
you're
saying?
right. You're right.
Half
Yeah.
half of Philadelphia is probably the teenagers are named Chase, and the little kids are named Carson. You
It's,
know?
it's going off the subject real quick. I'm wondering how many kids' names are in Joel or Embiid. What do you think? Joel or Embiid, or
Well,
hell.
that I was gonna say, well, that'll if the Sixers find a way to win, that'll be coming. You know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just hope there's no kids named out there, and Ben Jr. out there or Simmons Jr. or something like that. God, I hope not about that one. But man,
Yeah. Oh, I know. Tell me about
mm,
it.
mm.
And poor Ben. I heard his engagement got broken up. Oh, feel
Oh,
so. I feel so sorry for
oh,
him.
Ben. Oh,
What I mean,
Maybe,
what's he gonna do? I mean, I guess he. You know what's funny? Oh, you remember dodgeball? All right, remember at the end where Ben Stiller got all fat and shit? That'll be Ben Simmons, except with candy.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we know his ass. We know his ass ain't going to be in no gym shooting the ball anytime soon. So he'll be out there trying to look for some tail, right at this one. So why not?
Yeah, but so anyway, the 2016 season, we go 7-9. It's Dougie P's first year. Carson gets his feet wet, and but he set up a foundation for the 2017 season.
Mm-hmm.
So we get into 17, and what does Howie Roseman do? He goes out and signs Nick Foles,
Mm-hmm.
2 starting receivers, and Alshon Jeffrey and Torrey Smith.
Yeah.
An unsung signing in Stefan Wisniewski. He also starred in the Super Bowl. Patrick Robinson, who was the best slot corner in the National Football League that
Mm-hmm.
year. Later in the summer, he gets LeGarrette Blount and Chris Long. All right.
Yeah.
He also makes 3 really big time trades. He trades for Tim Jernigan, who started at defensive tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Ronald Darby, who I mean, he got hurt during the year, but he started in the Super Bowl. And then, of course, the big Jay Ajayi trade.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and you know what? There's another move he made. That I actually didn't write down, but I remember it now. Corey Clement made the team as an
Mm-hmm.
undrafted free agent, which, by the way, boy, you want to talk? How people say every dog has his day. Dude, the Super Bowl was that for Corey Clement. He ain't done shit since the Super Bowl, but he was like fucking Emmett. He was like Emmett Smith in the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny. Like he went to Dallas last year, and I'm thinking, like, hey, can we get that Super Bowl Corey Clement to come here and
Yeah.
play ball for us? Just one game, baby. I mean, come on.
But I mean, he was great in that Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Definitely
saying? Like,
was. Definitely.
I mean, I mean, one of the biggest plays in that Super Bowl well, there were so many, but
Mm-hmm.
that touchdown on that 3rd down that he caught, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
first off, it was a perfect pass by Nick Foles, but a lot of running backs don't make that catch. I mean, that was a hell of
Exactly.
a catch he made there, you
Mhm. It's
know?
like it was right in the basket, but man, it's the angle of that one right there when he brought that. I'm like, damn, like Corey Clement, where's this dude been?
Yeah, so, so anyway, he builds a Super Bowl team. He wins executive of the year. Now, the
Mm-hmm.
one thing hey, with how I got to keep the good with the bad. I can't sit here and just suck this guy off, you know what I'm saying? So I got to keep the good with the bad. The 2017 draft was absolutely horrible. But we didn't notice it because we won the Super Bowl. I mean, you look at the 2017
Was that
draft.
Derek Barnett or something like that? I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah. And I forgot one other move. We gave up the 1st round pick to get Wentz, but Howie fleeced Minnesota and traded Sam Bradford for their 1st round pick, which was literally
Yes.
right around where our pick was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when it comes to trades, Howie Roseman is in like Danny Ainge level of fleecing. I mean, like Howie Roseman should have a mask. Like if I'm remember draft day where Kevin Costner hammers
Mm-hmm.
the dude from Jacksonville?
Right.
Okay, that's like Howie Roseman, like the dude from the other GM's like, oh shit, like what do I do? You know what I mean? And Howie gets the better of him.
It's like it's funny how you say that, Joe. It's like if I'm another team's GM out there and I get a phone call from Howie, it's like I feel like a lot of these GMs are afraid to pick up that phone because I don't know what he has, like his voice or how, how he speaks to him, but I'm just sitting there like, do I pick up the phone because I know I'm going to get screwed somehow. I know he's going to fleece me into somehow. He's going to get the better of this deal. Do I pick up that phone? Like that's what his name is now. Howie is like, don't pick up the phone because you're going to get screwed. You're going to get screwed somehow. He's going to get the better end of the stick, and you're going to be sitting there about to be shot from your team.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost maybe he's like real man. You know what? It's funny. Maybe the year he was in the locker room, maybe he became all maniacal. Like he started hiring
Mm.
private investigators, getting pictures on these dudes. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like it might be like it might be he might have pictures of these guys like told like Silence of the Lambs shit. And all, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly. Like I get to see it. Like Howie's on the, I'm a Howie. I'm on the phone with you, Joe, and I'm like, all right, so we're gonna make this trade, right? You're gonna give me Rager for a first round pick? Nah, you crazy, man. Hold on a second. There's a knock at my door, or your door. He goes in there and he shows him this picture, and he's like, Howie, you got it. No problem. First round pick. We got you. We
Yeah,
can't release this picture. Maybe hell, you don't know, Joe. I mean, hell, whatever
I
he's doing, shit, Jerry Jones, get some PIs out there, brother.
yeah. So so obviously the team wins the Super Bowl in 2017. So 2018 is a challenge, but what's really ironic though is the fact that
You
so
got
I just
Goddard. You got Goddard in 2018, right?
well, I was about to say
Mhm.
maybe this is a good thing because Howie isn't the greatest drafter, although I will give about 15 examples of really good picks, but the 2018 draft, he was still sitting there drinking drinking Cristal,
Style.
doing like the victory lap. And this is ironically the best draft he ever had because
Mhm,
he trades down from 32 to 49, gets Dallas Goddard,
mhm.
okay, and by the way, goes in for. I mean, you probably weren't happy about this because he goes ahead of the Cowboys because the Cowboys wanted Goddard, from what I understand, correct?
Yeah, I remember saying that because that was when the year pretty much when Witten was going to be, let loose. Well, he was talked about it, so I'm like watching Goddard play. This guy is like him. He's a blocking tight end. He's a hybrid to me, and he's a hell of a pass catcher. I want a lot of rumors were saying get Goddard, and I would remember that. John, I'm like, what the fuck? I remember that. Mhm.
All right, but his best picks are later, and then this is where Howie really makes his hay. Fourth round, 125 overall, he gets Avonte Maddox, who has
Maddox.
since he's since become one of the best slot corners in the NFL. 5 picks later in the fourth round at 130, he gets Josh Sweat, who we've just signed to another contract, who looks
Mhm.
like a really young up and coming defensive end. Sixth
And then
round,
it was
206.
Jordan Mulatto or something like that.
Yeah, but first he gets Matt Pryor at
Mhm.
206. Now Matt Pryor wasn't the greatest player,
Right.
but we wound up getting a pick for him in a trade. So
Mhm.
so I mean, in the sixth round, I still got to give Howie props for that because if you can turn a 6th round pick and get some value for him, that's a good pick.
Yeah. Mhm.
But the best of all, Jordan Mailata, the 7th round at number 233. Jordan Mailata might be a top 5 or 6 left tackle in this league right now.
Mhm.
And you got him in the 7th round, bro. Like
Yeah.
that's and then Howie, the Eagle. I mean, 2018 won't get back to the Super Bowl, but they made a nice run in the end. I mean, if Alshon the ball, who knows what happens when we play the Rams?
Yeah.
Howie made it. Howie made he signed Mike Wallace as a free agent. That turned out, like I said, that turned out to be a bust. Unfortunately, he got hurt in the Tampa Bay game.
Mhm.
But he made a really nice trade for Michael Bennett. If you remember, Michael Bennett had a really good year that year.
Yeah.
Michael Bennett. So that was a quality move. Um, so that's 2018. 2018, you know, another playoff year, another playoff win. We win with the double doink.
Mhm.
Carson gets hurt, unfortunately, but Nick Foles once again uh, pays dividends. He comes in, and that was a signing. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, you could say that wasn't necessarily Howie Roseman that Nick Foles wanted to come here, but yo, I still got to give him credit. He did it,
Mhm.
you know. So now we come into the 2019 year, and the 2019 draft.
That was what? Let me see. Dillard. Is that
Yeah,
Dillard? 19.
Yeah, I was gonna say now the 2019 draft was another draft that he whiffed on.
Mhm.
The only guy you got Andre Dillard in the first round. Jury's still out on him.
Mhm.
Maybe you could get something for him in a trade. I actually think Dillard could start. Dillard would be starting for you guys right now.
Hell, anybody would start with. I'll take him right now. Ship him over. We'll give you something. Hell, why not?
So still Dillard possibly could have value, but this draft really sucked. I mean, the only guy that can play a little bit is Miles Sanders, but
Hmm.
Miles Sanders can't stay healthy. Arcega Whiteside sucks. Sharif Miller sucked, and then Clayton Corson or Clayton Thorson in the fifth round. I mean, Howie should be tarred and feathered for that pick. I mean, that was a
Hmm.
terrible pick, but he did he did make some good undrafted free agent signings. He went out and he got TJ Edwards, who
Hmm.
by the way is like one of our best linebackers right now. So
Right.
I got to give the guy some credit for that. He finds talent in unlikely places.
Hmm.
Um, Boston Scott is every time that dude plays, he plays extremely well, especially against the Giants. If you ask Evan Lauro about Boston Scott, he's going to start getting night sweats because Boston Scott looks like Walter Payton against the Giants.
He does.
Yeah, Evan, if you're watching, you could comment on that because
Evan,
you
we'll
know,
give you a shot. We'll give you a shot tomorrow night when you have your show. Get back at Joe about that.
well, I was going to say, you know what? Is all I got to do to make him nervous is I'll just comment Boston Scott. All of a sudden, he'll start getting sweaty. You know what I mean? I might throw him off. You know what I'm saying?
There
Um,
you go.
and then and then and then we got Greg Ward, because I mean, 2019, the Eagles got off to a terrible start.
Hmm.
But Carson led them to the playoffs with a bunch of Wawa receivers, which
Yeah.
was Greg Ward and then I was at the game at the end of the year. I mean, Boston Scott killed the Giants. I mean,
Hmm.
he was making like it looked like a joystick was out there. He's doing
Yeah.
all these turns and stuff. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Um, Howie's free agent signings kind of busted that year. Because Howie was really good at free agency up until this point because he goes out, he gets Malik Jackson. Now,
Hmm.
unfortunately, he got hurt, so that wasn't really necessarily his fault. But he trades for Deshaun Jackson. That turned out to be a bust because
Yeah. Yeah.
Deshaun, I mean, I remember the first game against the Redskins, Deshaun scored like 2 touchdowns.
Hmm.
And it looked
Then
like,
he was nowhere to be found after that.
what yeah, well, it was like the weirdest thing ever because we were playing the Falcons the next Sunday night,
Hmm.
and nobody knew what the hell happened. All of a sudden, Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson are both hurt, and you're like, what the hell happened to them? They were just playing last
Hmm.
week, you
Exactly.
know. Um, LJ Foote he signed, which ironically I think they cut him a little early because we cut LJ Foote. He went to Baltimore and played like really good football, so
Hmm.
maybe he just wasn't a fit in the defense.
Right.
And then we signed a safety, Zendeo, who
Yeah.
was trash.
Hmm.
Um, so Howie kind of lost his magic a little bit there. And then and right at this time too, he signs Carson Wentz to that long term contract.
Yes.
Which hindsight being 2020, I mean that turned that turned into a mistake. I mean, but so I can't I gotta say that's a miss, but he corrects the miss though.
Yes, he does.
So we come into the 2020 season and, you know,
Hmm.
um, he, here, so here, Howie in free agency in 2020, he signs Javon Hargrave. Pretty good move, I would think, right?
Hmm. I agree.
Trades a third and a fifth for Darius Slay. I would say that's a pretty good move.
Smart.
All right. The other moves he kept Jalen Mills, signs Will Parks. He was a bust here, but he's
Hmm.
gone other places, have been decent. And nobody else I mean, Hassan Ridgeway's a rotational guy, so not really, not really too much to get into
Hmm.
there. But unfortunately, the 2020 season is a disaster for the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles finished what was it, 4-12.
4 and 12. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, now this draft, uh, the first and the third round picks are absolute trash. I mean, JJ Rager. I mean, I'm
Yes.
sorry. I keep saying JJ Rager.
Jalen Rager.
You know what it is? I'm mixing. I keep thinking because I'm mixing JJ Arcega
Right
Whiteside
side.
and
Yeah.
Jalen Rager, and I keep calling. But so Jalen Rager instead of Justin Jefferson. I mean, there's no defending that. That was horrible.
It
That was
definitely
horrible.
was.
Davion Taylor in the third round looks horrible. Kayvon Wallace is still on the football team in the fourth round, but I don't think he's I'm surprised he made the team, quite
Yeah.
frankly. The rest of the draft, we'll see. I mean, Jalen Hurts, I got a question mark because if he is your franchise quarterback, not only was that a great pick, but it was really ballsy
It
because
was.
I mean, Howie Howie got absolutely ridiculed and ripped for taking Jalen Hurts because everybody said that messed Carson Wentz up.
Mhm.
I'm going to go the opposite way. What I'm going to say is that I think Howie Roseman was seeing rumblings from the locker room because even as a Cowboys fan, you probably heard Justina Anderson saying that there was problems with Wentz in the locker
Mhm.
room, and everybody shit on Alshon Jeffrey for it. But the bottom line is, my man was probably right because
Yeah.
the guy. I mean, some of those guys didn't identify with Wentz.
Yeah, I mean, when you don't have control of the locker room and they don't buy into your philosophy, your system, it goes a long way for your mental sake, honestly. Like, I think I wanted Hurts in Dallas because there was rumors in the second, third round that they were going to take Jalen Hurts, and I wanted him. I really want him. We're all college fans, Joe, and we know what type of person he is. He's a dedicated
Hmm.
leader. You go from Alabama, you get benched, you come back in, you win a game, you get benched, then you transfer to Oklahoma and you finish second to Heisman. He's a leader. We know that he can adapt. But when he went to the Eagles, I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? Man, what is this going to do to Wentz? Well, maybe he lost the locker room, like we said, like we talked about, but there was so many speculations regarding that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it would have if I'm Wentz, if I have to go to a therapist, man, if that's my problem, I'm going to a therapist because my job's on the line. They just brought this kid in to take my job. But I don't know with
Well,
Wentz.
hey, I mean, look at the late '80s though. Joe Montana, greatest of all time. They brought in Steve Young,
Steve Young. Hmm.
and Steve Young was a Hall of Famer too. They broke Joe Montana's balls. Did he cry like a little bitch? No,
Nope.
he didn't. He didn't do that. He went out. He went out there and won back-to-back Super Bowls. You
Exactly.
know,
I mean, there's a
but
different kind of animal out there. Honestly, it's the mentality of what you are personally, but it can go two ways. You can cry like a baby, cry like a bitch, and put your head between your legs, sit on the bench, and let the next man ride up. Or, you know what? You make yourself better. Look at all these players out there. They do what they have to do. Hell, look at Brady. There was what's that thing on Brady, where after the practice he would go out to the trainer and say, "Make me better, make me stand out here,
yep,
make me throw the ball." He did it time and time again, and we don't need to say anything about Brady. Look where he's at now and still playing at freaking 80 years old.
yeah. So like I said, like you could look at that either way because did that mess Carson Wentz up? So do you say do you say to your if they don't draft Jalen Hurts, is Carson Wentz still successful here? I I, I don't know honestly,
Hmm.
but you hear reports in Washington that he's struggling down Washington. He was good most of the year in Indianapolis, but when push came to shove, he
Just
came
stupid
up small.
mistakes. Yeah.
He came up small in the big time. So maybe the Eagles saw that, and then they saw leadership qualities in Jalen Hurts, and they said, "You know what? I know this is an unpopular move, but we're going to make this move." You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you look at the rest of this draft. Jack Driscoll in the fourth round, 145 overall.
Hmm.
Jack Driscoll was playing extremely high level guard last year. For a fourth round pick. I mean, it's still early, but he looks like a really quality fourth round pick that's going to be part of this rotation for a number of years.
Agree.
You you got Quez Watkins in the sixth round,
Mm.
one of the fastest guys in the league. They took him 200th overall, sixth round. He's a slot receiver. And then the other pick, also in the sixth round, I'm not going to really give him too much credit for this because this guy's just a rotational guy. But Sean Bradley, still on the team, 196
Mhm.
overall. So, uh, like I said, the jury's out on that draft because anytime you miss on your first and your third round pick, right now I'm going to say that draft's
Mhm.
not the greatest for him.
Agree.
But he did add talent to the team. You know what I mean? He
Oh
did,
yeah.
and if Jalen Hurts goes out there and balls out this year, guess what? None of that other shit because you found a
Yeah.
quarterback in the second round.
Exactly. Oh, that's a wash right now. You're the genius now. So it all panned out in the very end. So.
Right, because like I said, when I look at a GM, every one of these teams is gonna miss. I mean, you know, what 16 teams missed on Jerry Rice. He was the greatest receiver of all time.
Mhm. Jerry Rice, Randy Moss. Like you think about all these great players out there, and it's just like, I still shake my head with the Cowboys. Randy Moss was sitting in our lap, like, well, take him. No, no, no.
E- e- exactly. So 2020 season was a disaster. We finished 4-12. We wound up catching a lot of shit for tanking that last game,
Hmm.
which turned out to be great because it wound up getting us an extra first round pick because we
Yeah.
wound up trading down, getting Miami's pick.
Hmm.
So Carson Wentz went once out. nobody no nobody thought they were going to get anything for Carson Wentz because they didn't think he had any value. Howie Roseman, to his credit, once again finds a way to get a first and a first and a first and a
First,
third, I
third.
believe.
Yep.
Yeah, first and a third for Wentz. Turned out to be a great move. Uh, yes,
Mm,
I have to acknowledge that the Eagles had the most dead cap in the history of the NFL last year. So I mean, we always say Howie's great with the cap, but he was spending like a drunken sailor. You know what I mean? We had the most dead cap, but he made a command decision. He gets rid of a guy that wants out, and they decide to take a chance, giving the keys to Jalen Hurts and have 3 first round picks going forward. You
mhm.
know? So you come in
Yeah.
now so anyway, so you come into this 2021 draft.
Whew.
Now Howie Roseman, in my opinion, this is possibly a changing draft
It is. It is.
because you go out, you get the Heisman Trophy winner in Devontae Smith. Finally, by the way, finally picking guys from Alabama. I mean, it's about time.
Well, you got 2 of them that year, Joe.
Yeah, Landon Dickerson, who looks like he could be one of the top guards in the NFL,
You know,
and hit.
I thought him honestly, Joe, not to cut you up. I thought he was the best center in the year at Alabama down there when he played center for Alabama. I thought he was probably going to be the number one, center taken. And when you guys got him, I'm like, my God, Kelsey's not even on his way out yet. And here's your already replacement for Kelsey, and you can swing him over to guard too. Jeez, what are we doing?
Well, and I'll get to this. I'll get to this before we wrap up. But it looks like he got Kelsey's replacement in Cam Jurgens, and Cam Jurgens looks like a young Kelsey out there.
And you know what, Joe? Going ahead to 2022, Joe. This draft, my God, you got possibly 3 starters for the future. Well, right now, Jordan Davis, Cam Jurgens is already a plop and play, plug and play guy.
Hmm.
And then you got Nakobe Dean. Whenever you want to rotate him in, he's a possible starter on many teams out there. Your first 3 picks out of the box, right away.
Yeah,
Insane.
that's right. And then going back to 2021 here, round three, pick 73, Milton Williams, defensive tackle from Louisiana Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know how accurate this is, but I was listening to I think it was 97.5 a few weeks ago, and one of the publications of like NFL writers or something say like Milton guys they think could break out, as a young type defensive lineman. He's a solid part of the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Then round, you know, round 5, pick 150. It's a little early, but Kenneth Gainwell looks like he,
Oh,
he he had like 6 touchdowns last year. If nothing else, he looks like he could be like a Naheem Hines type of rotational back.
exactly. Yeah,
You know what
I remember that draft. I was actually talking to Matt Klein, which you'll see on Wednesday nights with us. And I remember we were talking, and he's not a big college guy. And I was like, he's like, Kenneth Gainwell. I was like, oh shit, the Kenneth Gainwell. He's like, is he good? I was like, dude, let's think about it this way. You got Devontae Smith, okay? And you're talking pure speed here, a great route runner. Well, you got Gainwell, a perfect scat back out of the field now. Now you're
Mhm.
looking at pure speed, mismatch all around. He's like, that good? I'm like, dude, that he's scary for where they got him. He's scary.
Well, and so these next 3 guys that he picks, you know, one of the major parts of being a general manager isn't necessarily about taking the best player. I mean, it is about taking the best player, don't
Mhm.
get me wrong, but isn't it also about cap management and roster building?
It is. I mean, it's a ball. A lot of people don't get that money. There's people out there that think like, oh, well, we should have got this guy and this guy. Well, you got to look down the line also, but you got to look at positional needs too. Best available. Joe, if I need a guard, it's just like Dallas last year. Okay, we needed a center. We wanted a center. Tyler Limbaum was sitting there for us. I wrote
Mhm.
articles on this guy, articles and articles. Well, you don't like Tyler Baez. Well, they took the next available player in Tyler Smith, and he was a reach. He was a reach for us. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Best man available does not work sometimes.
Well, this gets into my point because this year they're going to find out about Jalen Hurts.
Hmm.
If Jalen Hurts has a big year, the Eagles are probably going to offer him a big contract, which in turn, this is the last year of Javon Hargrave. This is the
Hmm.
last year of Brandon Graham's contract. You also have Fletcher Cox getting up there in in age or whatever. Okay, you already re-signed Josh Sweat, and then you signed Hassan Reddick to a big contract this year.
Hmm.
Okay, so these next 3 picks in this draft actually all young defensive linemen, because that's an eye to the future, which a general manager needs. Because
Mhm,
if you can develop these young defensive linemen, you can clear out Hargrave's cap space. You can
mhm,
clear out Brandon Graham's cap space, and you could clear out Cox's cap space, or
exactly.
mostly. And guess what? You could re-sign your young quarterback.
Mhm,
So these next picks, round six, 189, they took Marlon Tiapalutu from USC. Now I don't know
mhm.
much about him, but everything I read about campus, they really like the kid that he's progressing.
And Joe,
They
you know
all
what? Not to cut you off. Remember on the college football show when Mike Lauro said about the Samoans? There's that Samoan
oh
that you
they're
guys go.
exactly. Round six, picked 191. They took Tyron Jackson, defensive
Mhm,
end from Coastal Carolina. By all accounts, he looks like he could develop into something. And
mhm,
then round seven, they took Patrick Johnson, an outside linebacker from Tulane.
mhm.
So, you know, now, are any of those guys world beaters yet? No. Am I saying it's probably? I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say Howie Roseman hit it out of the park on those guys because they are young. It's going to take a year or two. But I guess what I'm saying is kind of they all look like they're developing, and if they do, that's how you build a team. You build a team by putting guys like years ago. This is not Howie Roseman, but the 2002 Eagles. They took Lito Shepard, Sheldon Brown, and Michael Lewis, and
Mhm,
then they took Westbrook, of course. Now that was a great draft,
mhm.
but a lot of people were like, "Oh, why are you taking those guys? You guys are set at corner." Well, 2 years later, Troy Vincent leaves as a free agent.
Yes.
Bobby Taylor leaves, and these young guys come up. And the Eagles had sustained success, and that's how
Mhm.
you have it. It's
Yeah, I
that's all
agree.
part of building a team.
And I agree with you. It's like, in baseball, you have the farm system. You're always looking for the future. And that's what the Eagles seem to be doing with their late draft picks. They're putting guys on the shelf, just letting them sit there for a while. Then when the big deal comes out, they're like, okay, you know what? We'll go with the rookie. He's advanced now. He's learned the system. Bring him in at cheaper price. It's plug and play. I wish a lot of teams would start doing that. But Joe, you guys are set for the future. I hate using this word dynasty. It really bothers me as a Cowboy fan, but
Hmm.
Michael Irvin's pretty much correct. You guys could be a Philadelphia Eagle dynasty, and
Well,
you guys
yeah,
you
but
guys are set for the future. And even if Hurts doesn't pan out, Joe, you still have two number one picks next year to take a
well,
chance or go out and get somebody.
I'm not going there yet, but the encouraging thing is though that the most important area you could be set at in the NFL is on the lines. Well, the quarterback number one,
Right, the
then
trenches,
on
yeah.
then on the lines. Well, if you look, I mean,
Phew.
the Eagles have probably like a top two or three offensive line at worst,
Mhm.
and maybe a top five or six defensive line, and you can't
Yeah,
ask for much more than that.
I agree. I mean, going back to our championships, it's a lot of people down me for saying Emmitt Smith was not one of the top three running backs in the league. Well, hell, anybody could run behind that offensive line they had back, Larry Allen days, Tunia days, people like that. But you guys have a top three running back, or not a running back, I'm sorry, the line, but in the defense, I'm thinking you guys are in top three in both categories, honestly. I really do. And that's hard for me to say because man, I tell you, that's where the game is won in trenches, Joe. And it's with what we have versus what you have. Hell, I'll give any one of your backups anytime a starting job on my squad right now. That's how bad we are. And I admit that.
Yeah, so last year the Eagles, had a weak schedule, and keeping it real, we went 9-8. We brought in a new coach and Nick Sirianni. We go 9-8. We make the playoffs. Most realistic Eagles fans could look and say, you know what, we were ahead of
Mhm,
schedule. Honestly, if our schedule wasn't so easy, we weren't really a play. I mean, we weren't really a playoff team last year. I mean, we got
mhm.
in because they added the wild card spot, and anytime we played a good team, we got our ass kicked. You know what I mean? So, particularly you guys, right? So into this off season, knowing he needs to do a lot of work. And I got to tell you, Paul, I don't want to jinx him, and I'm not saying, believe me, I'm not saying Super Bowl. I'm not. But this offseason has a 2017 feel. It's ironic. Last year's off
Mm.
last year's offseason has a 2016 feel to me. This year's offseason has a 2017 feel because I'm looking at what we did, right? So you look Howie goes out and gets Reddick, because we needed a pass rush. Now
Mhm.
you look and you got Brandon Graham coming back. So now you look, you got Reddick, Sweat, Brandon Graham, Derek Barnett. Yeah, I'm not really the biggest Derek Barnett fan, but you know what though? As the fourth defensive end, he might be decent. Just keep his ass on sides, you know. All right. He goes out and gets Bradbury. All right. We needed
Yeah,
another corner. He
yeah.
goes out and gets Bradbury. Kazir White. I mean, we're finally valuing the linebacker
Linebacker.
position. You know, my FedEx guy's a huge San Diego fan, or I keep calling him San Diego
Right.
Chargers fan. He was pissed that they let him go. He was like one of
Mhm.
their best linebackers. I'll tell you, an underrated signing. I think Zach Pascal's going to play major dividends, especially around the red zone.
I think so
Zach,
too. He's a
Zach
big threat.
Pascal's going to play.
He's a big threat in the red zone. Yeah. Mhm.
And then he go- and then he goes and gets Chauncey Gardner Johnson 2 days ago, because one area we were weak, the safety. He goes out and gets him.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, it's solidified. Just like I said, Joe, you solidified your position players of what you need. You went out and got the players you need, and I'm really pissed. Honestly, as a fan of the game, like, wow, it gives me two different feelings, Joe. The 2017 feeling, like you just said, you're going out and get these players, key players, yes, but you're putting positions in effect right now to win. You're dropping it, and even you got rotational players, depth, D line. The defense is set 100%. But then I look at it both ways. I don't remember what year it was, Joe, but what year was the dream team for the Eagles? Vince
uh,
Young,
2011. Yeah. Oh, that.
2011.
I just want to hold my nose when we think.
I look at it both ways, Joe. Like, you know what? I'm waiting for somebody to come out. I don't want to. I do want to jinx you, but I don't.
I got you.
I'm waiting for somebody to come out there and say, "Wow, this gives me the feeling of the dream team." I want to hear that in a certain way, honestly, but I think this is a different feeling. I do agree with you. It's giving me that 2017 feeling, and especially worse because my Cowboys are on the decline right now, Joe, and you guys are escalating pretty fast.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I didn't even bring up the biggest move, and that was trading for AJ Brown.
You have to go there, Joe.
Yeah,
You have to throw some salt on me, Joe.
so now, and that was on draft night. Now we go to this draft, and like we already touched on, you go out and get Jordan Davis, who's an absolute beast. I mean,
Mm.
the guy's a man child. I mean, just from his size alone, you need to put about two guys on him.
And
And maybe even three. Remember that
yeah,
Jets game?
that's the thing we were talking about last night. It's like, how do you actually defend the Eagles defensive line? You got Tyler Baez. Basically, we want him out playing center. He can't stick, just a basic rotation guy on any team, and you're going to put him man up, man on Jordan Davis. Well, then you're going to ask all world Zach Martin to actually help out there, and
Hmm.
it's just going to be with any kind of defense if they're smart. I know the Eagles are going to do this a lot. I think it depends how active they are. If they blitz a lot, it could be nightmares for a lot of teams because your corners, your safety has been upgraded, and that was the issue with the Eagles a lot. It was corners and safety, the back half of the defense.
Yeah,
Secondary was not great. Your defensive rotation was pretty much always good, but it was a secondary. Now it's a fulfilled 11-man squad.
yeah.
Pick your poison, dude. It's just like I'm really scared, Joe. I really am. I really am.
What I mean, as an Eagles fan, my concern is Jonathan Gannon. Is he going
Hmm.
to be aggressive enough? Because I don't, obviously, if you have a really good front four, then you don't want to blitz all the time, because if your
Hmm.
four guys can get there, but our corners are good enough where
Yes.
I would rather play aggressive. I want to force more turnovers this year. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But
And that's the thing. I think if you guys are more active, being really, aggressive. And the thing is, Joe, just like you said, you don't want to always blitz them, but you guys have the rotation. You guys have
mhm,
that rotation, that depth, which is very, a lot of teams don't have that. And you guys are built. When you can bring a linebacker like N'Kobe Dean off the bench, and he's a ball hawk and a linebacker. He's active on the pass rush, and we know what he can do. Like he was top three, top three. We talked about him being maybe possibly him and Devin Lloyd being the number one linebacker in the nation, and how he dropped you guys in the third round.
yeah,
Dude, we were doing a draft night that night, Joe. And I think you were the one that dropped, the AJ Brown deal. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, Joe. No way.
yeah.
And I was like, you got to be. I wanted to get off the air. I wanted to stop the show right there. I really did. But yeah, I think it's going to be a great year. I mean, I'm a fan first, Joe. Number
Mhm.
100% first as an NFL fan of the entire game of history and now. And I respect what you guys are doing. But Joe, let me ask you real quick. What is your
Sure.
overall grade for Howie? And out through, the 2000, was the first year was what, 2000, I think it was 13 or 2010 was his first year, correct?
Yeah, I mean, his
Until
first.
now.
I was gonna say, see, the thing about his first few years, is that it's hard for me to give him an accurate grade because you still had Andy Reid at that point. So,
Mm,
what was the fireman Howie Roseman, or was that Andy Reid like in a big cheeseburger eating guy? You know what I'm saying? I don't really know. He missed on. I know back Jaquan Jarrett they took in the second round, which was a major reach
mhm.
because they after 2009 they spent years trying to replace Brian Dawkins, and they just
Right,
couldn't get it
right.
done. So that's kind of why I really only really focused on 2016
Mhm.
on because that's when Howie I feel like was given the keys. Like
Right.
him and Jeff are like him and Jeff Lurie are like this, and I feel like Howie Roseman, hey, this is a Howie Roseman production. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because Dougie P, he came in, he was a first time head coach. I mean, he was big balls Doug in the Super Bowl, but I didn't get the sense that he was big balls Doug in the draft room. I feel like that was
Mm,
mostly Howie Roseman.
I agree.
Um, so if we go over if we go overall, I'll give him a B. I'll give him a B plus to an A minus because obviously because we won the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
The one year.
Right.
If we go even with his mess ups, if we go from 2016 on, I have to give him an A plus because I mean,
Yeah.
think about I look at it like this. From 2016 we missed the playoffs, okay? That was a rebuilding year. But we won the Super Bowl in 17, made a run in 18, made it
Mhm.
again in 19. 2020 we sucked. 2021 was a rebuilding year, but he
Mhm.
still made the playoffs. And then this year, by most accounts, we're co-favorites in the NFC East, and we're a lot of the public's team to possibly make a run.
Mhm.
That's a really quick turnaround. And oh, by the way,
Yeah.
you drafted a quarterback at number two, who was supposed to be your franchise guy. You gave him all this money and you traded him and took another guy, and now you're right back in the contention. Like to me, that's
Mhm.
to me that I mean that's GM, that's playing chess. That ain't no checkers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and
My thing for Howie is, I think it was wrong for me to say overall draft, Joe. Just like you said, he had the Reed, he had the Chip Kelly era. So I think, just like you said, I would probably go after that. But and it's an outside, fan, I would probably give him a definite solid A. I don't want to
yeah,
give anyone an A plus because there are busts out there that
I
we do
gotcha.
take, but I have to give him a solid A real quick. I do have to do that, but I do have one question for you, Joe.
Sure.
Russell Wilson today, almost $55 million a year.
Hmm.
Let me ask you this: with the market going up, I downfalled the Prescott signing at 40 million. I thought that was way too much, coming off the injury. But let me ask you this: if Jalen Hurts, let's say you can win the NFC East next year, I don't know if you'll get a home field bye first round. Let's just say you do. You're in the top two in the NFC. You win one playoff game, get to the conference finals. Do you pay Jalen Hurts? What is he worth? With top five quarterbacks are all over $42 million a year right now, with 160 million signing bonus. What do you give Jalen Hurts?
Yeah. See, you know what? That's a tough question because does Jalen bet on himself like a la Lamar
Mm,
Jackson, a la Joe Flacco? Because
yes.
we talked about this about a month and a half ago on the Sully Squad because I brought this up. Um, I brought this up too because I looked at like the average of the top 15 quarterbacks of this league,
Hmm.
and I said if it were me, I would take the gamble and pay him at like a top 12 to 13 rate of like 30 some million a year right now and take that
Hmm.
gamble that he is
I
the
agree.
guy.
I agree.
But going forward though, is he going to do that? Because if he has a big year this year and they go far, he may be like, you know what, I want my 50 million a year, and then
Mm,
that's a real scary thing for me as an Eagles fan because I do really like Jalen Hurts,
hmm.
but I don't believe he's in the top five of quarterbacks. So if we have to pay him that, it's gonna make it really hard to build the team around him.
And that's my thing. We were commenting about it a couple of nights ago. We were talking off air with somebody. One of my friends hopped on, and he's an Eagles fan. He's like, I would pay him anything he wants. I'm like, well, are you going to audition for yourself and take the risk there? Because if you play out 1 year, this year you ball out. All you have to do is say, hey, look, Dak Prescott got $40 million coming off an injury. I just took you to the conference finals.
Mhm.
I'm the future. You gave me the weapons. I showed you what we can do. Second year of me at the helm, give me that deal and we can move forward. But the reason why I said that, Joe, the prices now, my God, you're
I
looking at
know it's
45 million for a top five quarterback.
it it it's crazy. That's why if he had a good year this year, and say it wasn't like all right, say we don't make the conference final, say it's another playoff year,
Hmm.
but he throws 30 touchdowns, rushes for like 800 yards, maybe we win a playoff game.
Hmm.
Then him and Howie sit down. Maybe you could get him for maybe he would want the financial security of signing for say 30 to 35 mil and not
Right.
risking that injury next year. And if he did, I think I would do that because with the cap going up, 30 to 35 million
Hmm.
will be equivalent of like 20 some million 5 6 years ago.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it right now, Joe. You got Aaron Rodgers 50 million, Russell Wilson 49, Kyler Murray 46, Watson 46, Mahomes 45, Josh Allen 43, and Dak at 40, and Derek Carr at 40. That and
Yeah.
just imagine what next year. Every year it goes price tag up, salary cap goes up, and the price of a quarterback. My God, we might be looking at in the next 10 years, Joe. We might be looking at $100 million man per year.
I know. Well, I mean, I guess the one good thing is that the cap keeps going up, but I mean, eventually,
Mm,
eventually you're going to have to well, hey, you know
I
what?
agree.
To close out the show though, it gets into my point. That's another reason why Howie's a top 5 GM because guess what? When I'm thinking about dollars and cents, I'm thinking about Howie Roseman, baby.
And you know what, Joe? I got to give you guys credit. Listen, I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. I don't keep anything out of, I keep it real. No BS, no sugarcoat, no pom poms. And all I can say about Howie, do your thing. I wish I had you on the Dallas Cowboys because, man, it must be nice to have a real GM, Joe. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to keep it real. It must be nice to have a real one, honestly.
Yeah, and it's extremely nice that we got football season back. I got Purdue's up 10-7 on Penn State, but Penn State's driving a little bit. So it
Good.
looks like
I
a
need,
pretty good game so far.
yeah, I need Penn State. I did a parlay on all the games tonight, so we'll see. I took Penn State money line, so we'll see. I was scared about that 3.5 line. I was really scared. Opening night,
Gotcha.
you really can't, you really don't know your team. You can look at the blue white game or whatever you guys Penn State calls it. We look at, of course, we already know what ours, the blue and gold game, but
Yep.
you can get you. It's tomorrow, Saturday night. I can't wait for that, Joe. But
Me too.
oh man. But Joe, before we get out of here, man, I appreciate you hopping on from Mike, and I really appreciate you letting me be an outsider come on your show and talk to you about the things. It really gives me an aspect of what you guys are doing, and I really love doing that, so I can hear you guys' side of the story. But
No, it's a lot of fun.
I appreciate it. Joe, do you want to do the shows tonight for us? Coming up here on Out of the Box. Would you like to do that? The honor of doing that?
Sure, why not?
All right, here you go, Joe.
All right, we got the Fight Club 215 every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. We got Joey Woods and my man Paul Spencer talking about all UFC action. We got the Bat Cave every other Wednesday at 10 a.m. Ken Fry. Any Mets fans? Actually, even if you're not a Mets fan, it's a really interesting show. So check it out. He knows his stuff. Of course, College Football Frenzy every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. Got my man Mike Lauro, Paul Spencer, Joey Woods, and myself. We get into all the college football action, so we'll be recapping this Penn State game and Notre Dame game and all of them next week. We got Dem 215 boys, my man Paul Spencer and Matt Klein. These guys keep it real. They don't throw the 5 rings at you. They're actually real legit fans, and even as an Eagles fan, it's really interesting to hear their perspective on stuff. And of course, you already know what time it is. It's my man Big Mike's 4 for 4 Locker Room podcast. Hope I did him justice tonight. It's a great show, and he'll be back next week. So make sure you check him out. We got the Big Blue Power Hour with Evan Lauro and Stacy. They'll be talking Giants football, and like I said, I might have to send him a Boston Scott message tomorrow night. Saturday mornings at 8 a.m., you got the Out of the Ring podcast, Joey Woods and his little boy. And Paul, I don't know there's somebody else in there too.
I usually hop on once in a while.
Oh,
We have we
okay.
have we actually have a new host. Dave Yarnell will be on there, but yeah, he's
Oh,
going to be one of
okay.
the newest. Yep.
Oh, okay, cool. And on Saturday nights at 8 p.m., you got Ken Fry and Rob Hefner, Vegas sports scene. They talk all Raiders, Golden Knights, possibly the A's going to Vegas. And I had the honor of being on with him a few times. He's a great dude, and make sure you give him a like and a listen because he brings a lot to the table. And we got to give a shout out to our sponsor here. My man Paul Spencer used to work for this gentleman. His name's J Fine Law, aka Big Al. For all your personal injury needs, call 1-800-HURT-123. He's at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120, Philadelphia, PA 19103. So give him a shout if you got any personal injury needs. So basically, if you go down to Washington to boot Carson Wentz and you have a bad time and you get hurt, make sure you give this dude a call.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, tell him Out of the Box sent you. He'll take care of you. I promise you. You're not going to get charged 50%. You won't get charged 45%. You're probably just tell him Out of Box sent you, and you're going to get that family discount. I guarantee it's better than any rate out there. Great guy, 30 years. I used to work for him, personal friend. Give him a call. Tell him Out of the Box sent you. But Joe, man,
Nice.
thank you so much for hopping on, man.
It was just great, dude. I really enjoyed it because one of our buddies, great guy. This guy, Matty B from EOP, awesome dude, and he loves so he loves to anything Howie does or anything he just likes to go fire Howie. So he was my inspiration for doing this. So thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. And
Exactly.
because I was looking for something to talk about tonight, you know what I mean, with the Phillies on the West Coast, and I didn't really feel like trying to spend 45 minutes talking about who like the third string linebacker was, you know.
Yeah,
So
that's the
so it
reason
was
why we didn't
cool.
do. Yeah, we didn't do that last night on the 215 boys. There was just no sense to talk about people that you're never going to even see. Down the line, your rotational players. So, yeah, I love this, Joey. I listen to you here all the time on your show. And Joe, where else can they find you at, brother?
All right, so obviously I already mentioned I'm on the college football show with you,
Hmm.
and then but also on the Edge of Philly Network and Devereaux Sports Facebook.
Hmm.
I do a show at 6 p.m. It's called the Sully Squad. We go 4 for 4 Philly sports.
Hmm.
We're off. Obviously, we're off on this Monday because it's Labor Day, and people will be too busy probably drinking beers and having barbecues than watching this podcast this week.
Hmm.
I also do a show with my uncle that's coming back later this month. It's called Philly Sports, the Old School.
Mm.
And we've
Mm-mm.
done. We're trying to figure out what topic we're going to do, but we've done like Buddy Ryan Eagles, 93 Phillies, Wilt Chamberlain. So stay tuned because we like to do the old school topics and take you for a ride back in the DeLorean.
I
Let's go
tell you
back
what,
in the
Joe,
time.
I remember the Villanova, man. That had me glued from the second it came on to the second it got off. Let me tell you. But Joe, do you guys only do Philadelphia old school, or do you guys go out of the box and go everywhere else?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I was talking with my uncle, last week, and I think I mentioned to you, Paul,
Hmm.
that
You did.
we want to start doing some collaborations as far as like,
Mhm.
like say, Eagles players with Cowboys players,
Mhm.
Giants, kind of do like an NFC East type rivalry type
Okay.
stuff, or even any of the sports. I mean, we could even take it like Phillies Mets. Like there's the cool thing about sports is there's so many different angles you can go. I mean,
Right.
it's just you could take a lot of things a lot of different directions.
Hmm.
So
Are we ever going to do a Notre Dame old school?
I oh God, yeah. That
Thank
definitely.
you.
And yeah, definitely. And you definitely are a part of that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so
Well, listen, Joe, I appreciate you hopping on here, man. I think it was timely we get off here and watch some damn football. That's what we came here to watch for the whole weekend. And real quick, guys, out of the box, we Saturday, Sunday, and Monday we would not be on just like Joe said with the Sully Squad. We want here at Out of the Box. We want you to spend time with your family, go out, have a great time, drink, eat, but just one thing, please be safe if you do guys drink out there because we need you to come back and watch our shows. And the last thing, real quick, Mike Loro, hey. Prayers to you and Jamie out there. Jamie did come out of recovery. He's cancer free. So we pray for you. We're glad that you're home. Mike, you're doing the right thing. Your husband duties are in effect, taking care of Jamie. We all wish you well. So, Joe, I'll let you take us out of here, brother.
All right. Have a great Labor Day, everybody. Enjoy the college football. Like I said, go out, have a good time, be safe, and yeah, it's Christmas, baby. Let's go. It's football season.
Exactly.
Check us out of the Box Sports Network, Edge of Philly Sports, Devereaux Sports. Hey, you know what? It's all love, baby. You know what I mean? We're all sports fans, and let's it's all fun.
All right. Let's have a good one, guys. We'll see you next week. Mike Laura will be back for you guys. So, everybody, have a great night. And once again, be safe.